Hi, you're listening to The Humans We Are with Carola, episode number 27. Hello, my human friends. I hope you're doing amazing today. If you're new to the show, as always, I want to welcome you and assure you that you are in the right place if you want to figure out how to relate to yourself in a more loving, kind, and productive way. And if you're not new, if you're coming back, welcome to another episode of The Humans We Are. Today's episode was inspired by a one-off session that I had with a former client. And before we dive in, I want to remind those of you who have coached with me in the past and maybe needing to have one or two single sessions that currently I have that option available. And I am not sure for how long I will keep this up, but right now, June 2023, you can buy a one-off session. So if you coached with me before and you don't need a longer 3, 4, 5, 6 month engagement, but maybe you have a very specific thing that's blocking you and that you'd like help working through, or maybe you're facing a decision that you need to make or anything specific like that, I'm here for you. And because you've coached with me before, you know that we'll hop on that call and we'll dive right in. And you know how I coach, so you know the concepts and the tools, and we won't need to use any time to teach the concepts and all those things. So you can find the link to book this one-off session on my Instagram bio. So just go there and book it if that's what you think could be useful for you. So that was a very long-winded preamble to say that I had a lovely one-off session with an old client that inspired this episode. And I thought this is such a good topic because those issues that keep showing up with different clients are signs to me that it's worth talking about them here. One of the most powerful things about coaching is that you learn to take your power back in all areas of your life. And in relationships, that looks like owning that you can't change the other person. You can only change you. And you can only change how you think about them, how you perceive and interpret what they do and what they say. And sometimes, folks, if you haven't expanded your capacity for discomfort, this can get tricky. Because in order to avoid your own discomfort around your partner, you may be very quick to try and change your thoughts about them. And sometimes that's not what benefits you the most. So let me set the stage. I am making up a scenario, like a collage of different clients, so that most of you will resonate with this story. So think about your relationship with your spouse. We're going to make this about a spouse relationship, but this can be true for any other relationship. So if your relationship that you're worried about now or that you're having some issues around is not your main romantic relationship, just use this for any other relationship that you want. Now imagine that throughout your relationship, you've always been really uncomfortable when the other person gets angry. Not only that, when they get frustrated, angry, disappointed, when they're anxious or stressed, like any uncomfortable emotion for them makes you feel really, really uneasy and uncomfortable and like you can't stand it. So much so that you've always felt responsible for making their life as smooth as you can so that they don't get to the point that they might feel too much of an unpleasant emotion because that makes you really, really uncomfortable. You try to avoid at all costs that they get angry, frustrated, disappointed, anxious, you name it. And sometimes this requires you to push down some of your emotions if you have any reason to believe that sharing them with your spouse or even letting it show that you're struggling with them may impact their mood. And because you feel responsible, it's just not worth it. It creates extra strain for you to show them your emotions. So you just keep them to yourself. You just push them down or ignore them. If you have kids, now you're trying to manage them too, so that they don't impact your spouse's feelings in a negative way. If your spouse is under a lot of pressure at work, if they are more tense at home and sort of like with a short fuse and they may go off with a little input, you will make sure that the kids are being good or that they are behaving well and that you are not showing them any of your emotions. So you feel like there's no room really for your stuff and you keep just pushing everything down more and more. But there's a limit to how much and for how long you can keep this up. And you will hit that limit sooner or later. It may come up in different ways, but it will. If you ever find yourself overreacting to a minor setback in a very disproportionate way, like, I don't know, like your kids spill their milk and you go nuclear because you can't take it anymore, you can't hold it in, or you can't find the brand of cinnamon that you like and you feel like crying, like this is a horrible tragedy, or you just disconnect and you feel numb and like you don't care about anything anymore. Or you may even start having physical symptoms, like physical ailments that seem to come out of the blue. Your body will not take this forever. And you may also start noticing that you're questioning if you're too much, if you're too emotional, or like if your emotional needs are too much. Or you may question if expecting that your partner helps you contain your emotions, maybe it's too much to expect and maybe you're being too needy. You may be even questioning the whole relationship. So if this resonates with you, I want you to listen very carefully. This is not your fault. And I'm generalizing here, but as women, we've learned to be the peacekeepers. Many of us had mothers that were of a generation where the role of a woman was to be the peacekeeper. That was the norm. And that's what our moms modeled for us. So even if we are of a different and more emancipated generation, and we are professional women and we see ourselves more like equals to our spouses, it is very common that you might still be the peacekeeper in your relationship, and that may very likely come from generations back in the past. And it may also have been a coping skill that you had to develop early in your childhood as a survival mechanism. But the point here is not about why you are the peacekeeper in your current relationship. Whatever the reason, I want you to know that it's not your fault. If you can't understand exactly where this comes from, it doesn't matter that much either. Don't get stuck in trying to understand why this happened, and trust that if you develop this way of being, if this is your coping mechanism, it is because at some point it served you. And if it no longer does, you have the power now to rewire that pathway in your brain. So if this is landing with you, you have been the moderator around your partner. You may be walking on eggshells at times to prevent them from going off. You manage the kids and you push your own stuff down. Your frustration, your stress, your anger, or any other emotions, to not add any fuel to the fire and keep the peace at home. And if you're being honest, you don't believe that if your partner can't manage their own emotions that well, you don't trust them that they will be able to help you with yours, to hold space for you and help you contain them. You may have become very good at understanding your partner, justifying why they are this way, and sacrificing your own emotional needs in their favor. But again, you can't ignore your own emotional needs forever. Sooner than later, you will hit your limit. And you have also started feeling resentment towards your partner, and you start wondering, when is it going to be my turn to be irritable and frustrated? And when are they going to manage themselves and the kids for me? And you may not have had this conversation ever with them. You may have never talked about what's going on, what you are doing, how you are coping, and how you are trying to help them and support them, but you have also not talked about what you need. And you keep just waiting for them to finally feel better so that you can then express your emotions that you've been pushing down. You've been waiting that they just maybe get a clue that you also have needs. And finally, you're waiting for them to change, to get over their stuff, but they have no idea that you're doing this. And in the meantime, your resentment and your frustration just keep growing and growing. By the time a client brings this up in a coaching session, they're already questioning the whole relationship. They are starting to ask themselves if they should stay or leave. They are questioning if their emotional needs might be too much, or if their expectations of their partner and their relationships are reasonable. Because staying with a person who doesn't have a lot of emotional capacity to deal with their difficult emotions is very hard. And leaving seems like the easier solution, like the quick and easy fix. But that's true only because your emotional capacity isn't very big either. This may sound counterintuitive maybe, or like a shock, but let me say it in a different way because this is so key. You have ended up in this situation because when you see your partner having difficult emotions, it makes you very uncomfortable. And your capacity to tolerate your own discomfort isn't developed enough. So in order to diminish your discomfort, you try to diminish theirs. You try to fix theirs or whatever is causing theirs. But in the long run, that ends up creating even more discomfort for you. If you need to rewind and listen to that again and really, really understand, just go ahead because this is really, really key. You are exhausted from trying to manage your partner's emotions and preventing them from getting more stressed and frustrated because you don't have enough capacity to tolerate your own discomfort that you feel when you see them struggling. You feel bad when they are struggling. It's possible that since you were little, you learned to be that peacekeeper because you needed to survive, and you learned that seeing the adults around you struggle with difficult emotions wasn't safe for you. And you started associating that with you feeling bad yourself, feeling unsafe, feeling like you needed to fix it. And you just kept doing it now that you are an adult. But you are not little anymore. You are safe now, even if your partner is struggling emotionally. And here, of course, I am assuming that this is true, that you are not in real physical or psychological danger. And if you are in danger, it's a very serious situation. Please seek help. And in every country, there's help available for situations like this. So seek what's available in your country. I am talking about when you're just very uncomfortable around another human being having difficult human emotions, but no real danger is involved. You can't control your spouse's feelings, right? You can only control yours. And in order to grow your emotional capacity, your tolerance for your own discomfort, you need to stop trying to prevent it. You need to give yourself the chance to practice being in the discomfort of seeing your partner having a difficult emotion and not running to solve for them. Witnessing yourself and holding space for yourself while acknowledging that you are safe is a good starting point. Next time you see your partner stressed or frustrated, notice how you feel about that. How do you feel? Notice what emotions emerge in you and catch any impulses to try and fix how your partner feels so that you can get relief from your discomfort. Name what you feel. Say, even though I'm feeling really uncomfortable when my partner is stressed, I'm fine. Even though I'm getting really anxious when my partner is stressed, I am safe. Even though I am feeling antsy when my partner is stressed and I want to run and fix things, I am still safe and I love myself. Even though I'm feeling unsafe when my partner is stressed, I am safe, I am well, and I accept that it's normal to feel this way for both of us. As you hold yourself with compassion, and as you practice sitting with your own discomfort, your emotional capacity will grow. And you will be able to hold space for you and for them, for yours and their emotions too, without making it a problem that needs to be fixed or prevented. And your partner, they also need a chance to practice holding space for their own stuff. They might not have had that opportunity because of all your preventative measures. They haven't had the chance to figure out their own stuff because you're constantly padding things for them. They may not even be aware of all you do to minimize stressors at home or to minimize any possible chance that they might get even more activated. They may not even know all the stuff that you have been pushing down, all your own emotions that you have not been sharing with them. And if you see it from that perspective, why should he or she change? If you haven't let them know, let them see really that they need to, or why. So today, I want to invite you to acknowledge that your partner is an adult and that they can grow their emotional capacity and learn how to deal with their difficult emotions in a productive way too. Even when their difficult emotions are about you or something you say or do. You can tell them, hey, I need you to step up and spend more time with the kids, even if you're stressed from work. you can let them figure that out on their own and just do it. You can say, hey, I feel like I am parenting alone and I need you to be more involved. You can say, hey, I need you to be in charge of what we're having for lunch. And they will have emotions about it. When they hear that, they may very likely not love it. And they don't have to. They don't have to like it. They don't have to agree with you. They don't have to, quote unquote, take it well. They don't have to be happy about it. They can just be the human they are. And you don't need to prevent them from having their emotions, whatever they are. It's okay. It's safe. Disagreement doesn't equal conflict. You can let them be the human they are and have the emotions that they have, and it's okay. It's not a problem. If you're listening to this and you're like, man, that makes sense, but it's easier said than done, you don't have to do this alone. I can help you. Right now, June 2023, I have one-on-one coaching spots available. And I can't guarantee that when you are hearing this, I will have availability or what kind of offers are going to be available at that time. But you can always figure out what's available through my Instagram account, or you can just message me. And I'm going to give you all the options in a minute. Now, if you want to find out more about what is currently available, you can visit my website, carolafuertes.com, or you can download a PDF where I explain the two offers that are available right now at carolafuertes.com/offers, or through the link in my bio, as I was saying before. If you want to support the show, honest reviews are always the best way to do so, and I will be forever grateful. So please, wherever you listen to this, if you can give me a rating and review right now, that would be super amazing, and I will shout you out in a future episode. If you have any comments, suggestions for topics, or feedback of any kind, you can always email me at carolafuertes.com. You can DM me at fuertescarola on Instagram. And it's 100% me, at least for now, who is checking those messages. So I love that interaction. I've said this before, podcast is pretty lonely sometimes. I'm just here talking to a mic, and I am hoping that you are on the other side and that this is being helpful. So whenever I hear from any of you, it's just so nice. So feel free to message me about anything. Okay, I will be back next week. But in the meantime, I hope that you will just set the intention to grow your capacity to deal with your own discomfort, which will lead you to grow your capacity to deal with other people's discomfort, and it will allow you to just be a witness to their emotions and to be present and hold space for them without trying to fix them. And if that's not the biggest show of love, I don't know what is. Okay, my lovely humans, this is all for now. I will talk to you next week. Bye bye.